Thank you for having me here today. I'm very excited to be here and discuss what we are calling here at Crackle the new network for the new living room. Let's take a step back really quickly and talk about Crackle and who we are actually owned and represented by. We are a part of the One Sony platform. So when you talk about Sony as a corporation, there's 4 divisions within Sony. We have Sony Pictures Television, Sony Music. Both of those properties obviously producing great content across different genres, as well as Sony Pictures Entertainment producing films like American Hustle, Bond films as well, and Sony PlayStation. The great thing about working for Crackle is that all 4 of these properties and platforms actually produce content that we are able to leverage as well as a content perspective and platform. So I'm very excited to be here and talk about the Crackle platform. So let's also talk about SPT ecosystem, Sony Pictures Television ecosystem, and where we are in the world. We are actually in 159 countries. That is actually 840 million homes worldwide, with 130 feeds and 22 different languages. In the U.S., this is actually the only country that Sony Pictures Television does not have a linear feed within, and that's how we actually leverage Crackle in the U.S. ecosystem to produce that linear content, or actually fill that linear content gap, I should say. So again, here at Sony Crackle, what we are talking about and what we kind of domed and put our stake in the ground is in reaching and producing content for the new living room. We actually have a research study that supports and provides some great context and content for what the new living room truly is, the consumers that are actually engaging in content in the new living room. But don't take my word for it, take a look at this quick video of the consumers that were part of our research study. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that video. Again, some great insights from some very lively consumers. Some bullet points that actually came out of this, one really important stat is that when it comes to the connected TV ecosystem in households, 96% today actually have the potential to stream video to TV in the household. So when you think about that, we are reaching almost every male and female in the U.S. Connected TVs also lead the home when it comes to streaming. So if you look at the streaming platforms, be it a connected TV device and or a television device, you can see here about 54% of those are through connected devices. 44% of streaming TV in the home are actually coming from computers, 19% and 15% respectively on tablets and cell phones. So what that truly means is that consumers are using the television screen still. I know you've seen stats from Nielsen as of recently that says that TV consumption is actually growing in total viewership and number of hours of content consumed, albeit coming in a different way. Consumers are actually using multiple mediums to engage in content, and that's what we've produced here at Crackle, a new way to engage in content, but still leveraging that television set that's in the home. People aren't really getting away from their beautiful 50 or 42-inch screen. They're just leveraging content in a different way on that platform. Some really quick consumer trends. When you look at the ecosystem again of people watching television, you specifically look at the cable satellite distribution compared to households that don't. Today, 20% of households report not actually having a cable or satellite interface in their home, so they aren't paying a cable bill. When you think about that and know that TV consumption is still increasing year over year, well, how are they getting their content? What are they doing? So let's break down that pie a little bit and talk about the future and what the next 6 months looks like. Not only are there cord cutters, again, that's people that specifically had chosen to cancel their cable or satellite subscription, there's also going to be a large portion of those people that have never actually had a cable subscription. So talking about that younger generation actually coming in and having some buying power and then choosing not to have cable connected television. There's also, again, cord cutters and also cord shavers. So these are people that have reduced the number of TV service or content they're getting for alternative means. And obviously Crackle is one of those alternative means. Let's take a look really quickly on streaming as far as a consideration set. So when people come home at the end of the day and they decide, hey, I want to watch content, how are they consuming their content? At least what mediums do they go to first? And surprisingly enough, watching content and airing on the TV is still the #1 medium. Even more surprising than that, I would argue, for those who really love TV, is that their next source they go to for watching content is not their DVR. It's not even their VOD system. again, the TiVos of the world are actually going down when it comes to DVR usage, and also the cable companies, Comcast, Time Warner's, and their millions of hours of streaming of VOD. People actually report going to a streaming service to actually watch content first, to look for content. So be it the interfaces, be it the availability of the content, be it the readiness, and often clicking just a few buttons to get to it, the streaming service itself is actually producing a lot of interest as far as where people want to go to next to actually find some content outside of their channel guide. So as you can see, again, a new behavior that's really just as recent has taken hold and become a really staple into how people consume and look for content on their televisions. Also, really quick breakdown on how people consume content. When you break it down to number of people actually consuming that content in the household, we know that live TV is still a very, very large portion of co-viewing in the household. But when you actually compare that to streaming devices, they are actually also very, very large when it comes to the co-viewing as well. And then actually goes down from there. As you'd imagine, the smartphones and tablets have a little bit more single viewing experiences. But these devices that are actually streaming content to those larger television sets are oftentimes still large portion of the co-viewing. So you're reaching both males and females on the platform consuming content when it comes to the television set. And also when you look at that breakdown by age and gender, you'll see that both adults 18 to 34 and even adults a little bit older than that demographic are a part of that co-viewing ecosystem. One more stat actually when it comes to ad-supporting streams and knowing that we actually win across all screens. When you look at the breakdown of TV, tablet, cell phone, as well as laptop, the difference between free content, content they're actually consuming with 30-second spot compared to monthly subscriptions that are actually changing as well. And Crackle is leading the way there too. So we know that the Netflix of the world are big across all three, but when you look at the paid TV services, the HBO Go's of the world, they're actually very minimal compared to companies like us, with Crackle. Also, other companies that do this as well, like Hulu. So knowing that ads support into the streaming system is increasing, and we are actually getting consumers really receptive to that advertising message. So they're willing to engage and actually and participate in an ad-supported interface, albeit getting some benefit as far as the content they're actually consuming and watching. So we know we're stepping into a space with the Crackle property across our devices into a very interesting and also well-received consumer. So let's talk about Crackle for a moment. We've talked about the research. We know consumers are there. We know they're participating with the streaming content. They're still watching TV. Well, what does Crackle ecosystem look like? We are actually across 20 devices currently. We are the #1 freely accessible premium entertainment network. We actually have Hollywood films as well as TV shows, and we are on devices from connected TVs, so your PlayStation 3s, your Xboxes, your PS4s, as well as your Xbox Ones, your Rokus. We also have connectivity through televisions as well with our standard connected TV applications. So we're built into Samsung and Sony TVs, obviously. We also have our sites and our Crackle.com, so you can actually watch and engage with us across any computer or internet-enabled computer as well. And we're also, albeit the smaller units themselves as far as screen size, in tablets as well as smartphones. So let's look at the ecosystem and compare ourselves to what we'd like to call the movie and TV show content, compared to the niche contents, the YouTubes and Vivos of the world, and also the TV digital platforms. All these guys are activating in this kind of streaming space in multiple ways, albeit some of them on the short form end of the spectrum, and us and others on the full length spectrum. Well, when you compare that and look at the reach of those platforms, obviously YouTube is accessible and available almost anywhere, but their limitations are really in the short form realm. You're not watching or getting a consumer that's sitting back in longer form content. So they're not sitting there watching, a 30-minute TV show or a 2-hour film. But even when you look at the TV and digital platform guys, so the ones that actually do have those longer form content, the shows and a little bit of the full-length features, and again, some of the players like ABC creeping into that world, they're limited as far as their actual reach. And you would have to download multiple of these apps to really and advertise across multiple of these apps, which they actually aren't truly ad-supported, to really generate true reach. So the NBCs and AMCs of the world are a little bit limited in that. But when you look again at the full-length players, the ones that are offering both movies and TV shows, we really sit in a house almost by ourselves. So there's Crackle, Hulu, Netflix, HBO Go, Amazon, and a few other players in there that are offering both films and TV shows. When you break it down and look at this and say, well, where is their advertising capabilities within this ecosystem? And you look at also, when you think about the completion rates and actually the number of long-form content available too, we really sit in the world all by ourselves. So we're the only free ad-supported content player across all these devices or players. We have a 93% ad completion rate, so people are really receptive to our advertising and actually go through, as opposed to the click and skip that you get on the platform like YouTube. We also have over 90 minutes of content per user, so we know that we're having consumers participate in content and stay in that platform. So in those three metrics, we really stand all by ourselves. Our competitive positioning, when it looks at comparison to other TV networks, when you look at truly unique viewers, again, we know that the connected TV space and streaming is becoming bigger, but if you look at it, we're actually right up there when it comes to the bigger players. We're fourth in line, right behind MTV, ESPN, and CBS. And also, if you put us across when it comes to minutes per viewer, we're actually number one. Why is that? Well, with our longer form content, our ability to have movies and TV shows and select those content at will, we really do have consumers participating in multiple pieces of content or predominantly larger forms of content at each view. So when you look at these two, we're actually really competitive in the market space, and one of the only that allow to have advertising inserted across all 20 of our devices. Let's look at our distribution on our devices. We know we're available online, obviously, with our site. We also have content into some other sites as well. We have the mobile distribution. We're across almost every mobile device currently. You can actually access the Crackle application. We are in the gaming connected console space as well. We actually reach 110 million consoles across those devices. We also, again, are in the connected TV space, either built directly into your TV. You can access the Crackle app, or if you have a device like Apple TV or Roku, you can actually access that app as well. And we are on the Apple TV home platform. So as soon as you turn your Apple TV on, we are one of the applications listed there. Let's talk about programming for a moment. And our programming actually spans across three spectrums in our advertising on those programs. What we have is both movies, TV shows, and original content. As you can see, there's some familiar content here, as well as some you haven't before. And we span across all three of those when it comes to movies, TV shows, and our own original content. Our audience, a quick kind of recap of who is actually engaging in Crackle from an audience perspective. We are predominantly male. We are at about 55% male, so a stronger male skew. 32 median age as far as who's watching our content. We have 51% actually household income above 60K, so we know we are a little bit higher when it comes to household income too. And 31% of our consumers are married, so we know that co-viewing behavior is an inherent part of the consuming behavior on the Crackle platform. Some other really important stats we have here too from a demographic standpoint: 70% are more likely to plan to own a smart TV in the next 3 months that actually have the Crackle experience. So we are reaching that niche consumer that is cutting the cord and also looking for more advanced technologies to participate with. Quick sizzle reel about Crackle. Now let's go on to the advertising capabilities. Again, I mentioned earlier that we have 3 different ways that you can integrate with Crackle. One is standard media perspective, and I'll go over that in a little bit. We also have sponsorships. I'll detail that in detail, where you can actually partner with some of our content. And also, because we have original content on the platform and producing more and more hours of content each year, you can actually integrate truly into a show and be part of that show's DNA. As you see here, a little screenshot of the show integrated with B&W. So from a media perspective, we have the capability to do pre-roll video as well as interactive video. So as you see here, both pre and mid-roll. Interactive, obviously, across our mobile as well as our computer devices. So if you use Crackle through the web. We also have the ability to insert splash media on mobile as well. So if you want to create a little bit more interactive and impactful unit, we can do that as well across our mobile applications, and that's what Crackle looks like on mobile. We also have the ability to do some innovative interactive advertising. We're calling C-roll. Really what that is the first ever interactive video ad across screens and platforms. So really happy to bring this from an interactive standpoint. So on our connected devices, if you're engaging with a piece of Crackle content, you can actually interact with that ad and go a little bit deeper. Things like viewfinders, multiple video clips if you would like to get 3 or 4 videos distributed on the platform, video, image galleries, you name it. You can interact a lot deeper with our content and cross-connect it. What that results is, in a quick snapshot, is we actually are getting 90% completion rates of those ads, 6.4% engagement rate on our C-roll, 300% are likely to spend more time within that experience, and we have over more than 60 seconds of extra earned media within that experience. So we know that this C-roll interactivity capability is increasing as far as our offerings, and consumers are really receptive to it. So we look forward to bringing it across the Crackle ecosystem. And also leveraging the power of Sony, one thing that we are also able to do is align your brand with some of our studio marketing. So if you aren't able to actually partner with a film launch like James Bond and pay the upwards of 8 figures to be a core partner, we can on the back end actually create some custom co-branded units with your brand, as well as some of our big properties. Someone's coming down the pipeline that may be of interest, Smurfs 3. It's actually coming out in July 2015. A new Bond film, please don't leak this information, coming out in 2015 as well as Hotel Transmedia too. As you know, Sony from a production standpoint is producing content to all different types of demographics. So if you would be interested in producing a video or having a video produced for you, that's 30, 60, upwards of 90 seconds that has some high value, high impact Sony produced content as well as your brand. We can marry those two things together for you. And third, we have Crackle sponsorship. So if you want to produce a content series or aggregate series on Crackle, like we have here for Arby's, the True Romance menu, if you will, where we put different content that relates back to a brand identity or a genre, and then the sponsor actually brings that content to the consumers, we can do so. Why we're able to do something like this is because, unlike other players like the Netflix of the world, we're not strictly just a library of content that's aggregated. We actually produce that content originally for the consumer in that given week. So we curate that content each time. So you come onto our platform looking for what we're curating. So think of us in a way as you would a standard cable network that you watch on linear TV or go to their on-demand site. That content they are curating at a given time for the consumers, as opposed to just uploading and kind of having a stagnant library of content to view. We're continuing bringing new and aggregative content to consume and enjoy, as you would with a cable network. And also our Crackle Originals, again, we've been producing these since last year. We had about 80 hours of original content produced, and we're moving forward with additional content. This year we plan on doing about 86 hours of content, sorry, actually over 100 hours of content. And some of our big original series are Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, Chosen, and I'll walk through a few of these in more detail, but I'm sure you saw the Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee ad during the Super Bowl. So when you look at a little bit of a deep dive onto the programming landscape when it comes to Crackle and what we're doing, we've had about 86 hours of content last year, and again, we're looking forward to 2014 to doing over 100, actually 128 hours of aggregated original content next year. So we want to compete with the big players in the world. We want to be producing content original for our program and compete with the AMCs, as you can see here, the TBSs and Netflix of the world, to truly be what we're calling ourselves again as the new network for the living room. So a brief overview. As I said, I'm sure a lot of you in the room are familiar with Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. If you're not familiar, I'm sure you'll see it on a taxi if you go outside at the moment in New York. But we have here, we're actually going into our 4th season. It's coming this fall. Original series produced in partnership with Jerry Seinfeld. Shorter form content, you'll get about a 10-minute show. The 6 about half-hour episodes, we are increasing that content to about a half hour. Our 1st season started off about shorter form, about 9 minutes. It's coming in October. Really groundbreaking content. One of our most viewed, actually the most viewed original programs on Crackle to date. We also have a show called Chosen, reaching a little bit more male, a little more greedy content here. The season 3 will actually be premiering on PlayStation. Happy to say that our Sony partnerships is actually creating some new opportunities for us to reach consumers in different ways. But the concept of this show is that Chosen is the idea that a consumer each year is one of our hero talent is actually asked and given the opportunity to kill another person. They are giving a box with a pitcher, a gun, and a time, and they have to actually kill this person within that time frame, or themselves, or one of their family members, will be killed. So it's a very gritty show, and it ends up being one of our most popular shows as well. Think of it in the vein of as you would a 24 or some other type of really thriller, high-impact show. We've had very famous actors so far in our series, including Chad Michael Murray and Rose McGowan, and we look forward to our season 3 and partnerships for that as well. Cleaners, one of our assassin shows about 2 female protagonists, is a show that we've done, and actually our 2nd season is coming this year. The format for this show is actually a crime and action genre again, touching into that assassin. It's actually 12 half-hour episodes, and it will release the 2nd season this summer. It's actually our 2nd most popular show with over 12 million views so far. Playing It Forward, one of our philanthropic properties that we're excited to bring this year, is a partnership we have with Robert Downey Jr. to produce live, at-will music concerts at any given time. What we do is we partner with some Sony talent to do a music series that will be just a pop-up. We actually film that pop-up performance. Obviously, that pop-up scene ends up being at the end of the set about 20 to 30,000 people. We actually did this with John Legend in LA just a few months ago and got great reception from that. Throughout the year, we'll be producing these series, and again, it's a philanthropic partnership. Each episode will donate $100,000 to a music venue. So if you are interested in partnering with a music property as well as a philanthropic giveaway to music charity, this is a great integration for one of your properties with the Playing It Forward opportunity. So question, a new original series that's coming this year. It will be 12 30-minute episodes that will follow a series of jurors that will be in a Victorian New Orleans hotel. So a lot of different ways to integrate with this property as well as even the space itself that we're filming in. So hotel partners we're looking forward to bringing on to be a part of this show. High impact, it will be a scripted drama. So we're looking forward to producing this and having some great partners integrated into the show. Last but not least, Crackle Live is another music property that we're working on. We will be doing 2 A-list artists and as well as 4 amazing artists. So if you want to partner on a longer form platform as opposed to individual episodes like we're doing with our other shows and Playing It Forward, you can actually partner across the year with us. We're launching this on Crackle.com as well as our PlayStation properties. This fall, there will be live social experience opportunities as well, where you can actually, the users and viewers of the content can actually participate with the show and content. So it will be live and will stream across our devices. So we're really excited at this opportunity, doing something, again, innovative, just like our platform, but in the music genre, making it interactive, making it live, and allowing the idea of a concert to come to everyone's household, all 96% of the world. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions. This was Crackle.